the funk? It's cloudy, it's fizzy, it's cider meets kombucha, and a lot of you people are into it. We are, of course, talking about...
Natural wines. Things that are about to get a little wild.
Oh, because of ferment. That's clever. Wild ferment. That's clever. We're going to be talking about pet nats. We're going to be talking about Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. And in particular, this Chardonnay is in a concrete tank. And what I need to learn is, what is the difference between organic wine and natural wines? This episode of Got Somm is covering one of the largest growing styles of wine. We're going au naturel. So firstly, Carlos, natural wines as a master sommelier, do you use them in restaurants? Are they ever brought up in your theory or your practical exams?
No, not necessarily. I do think there is a market. I think, there are some really good producers, some, old school producers that go a little bit towards this way. And then there's this whole new wave of course, natural, and pet nuts, etc., which started a few years ago. But, whether it's something I really enjoy or not, or most people really enjoy or not, I'm not too sure. I think conventional, where the wines are clean and cleaner or clean, they still a romance to it. I think these natural wines can be really, really quiet sometimes, like not in the best way. So yeah, keen to discover what's going on here.
So when I was doing some research on this, I found out like the organic wine market has been increasing billions of dollars, like 20% over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But that's not what a natural wine is.
No.
Firstly, I think that is a big confusion point. What is the difference between organic and natural wines?
Yeah, so with organics, there is a certification. So in the US, there is a certain certification. In Europe, there's a certain certification, etc. So basically, organic wine is as I said, a certification. For example, in the US, you can't use sulfites to a certain extent, only just byproduct of fermentation, etc. And everywhere there is different regulations, obviously, but it's a certification. So it's actually something that he has guidelines. With natural wine, there is no guidelines whatsoever. So now you can have a natural wine made of an organic vineyard. A natural wine, there is no guidelines whatsoever. So it can be whatever, quite literally. So you can buy grapes in and just, actually, the idea really is low intervention, basically. So the minimum you touch the vineyard, the wines, the grapes, low sulfites, no fining, no filtration. That's a natural wine.
Right. So it could have like Bob from Brunswick sweat in it from his shirt after a harvest.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
exactly. That's how they get that musty. No, I'm kidding. I'm coming in with an open mind and palate for this.
Including yeasts as well. That's something I didn't touch on, but yeah.
I think one thing that sort of to summarize maybe what you're saying is organic wine is about how the grapes are grown. So herbicides,
correct,
pesticides, and then natural wine is about how the wine is made.
Natural wine may be from organic vineyard, it may not, but yes, the whole process is low intervention, basically. Low interventional, natural yeasts.
Letting the wine do its thing.
Letting the wine just absolutely hands off, basically.
Well, like we said, the wine styles are growing in popularity from a younger demographic. We're going to start with our pet nats. What is the French word for pet nat? It is an abbreviation.
Pétillant naturel.
Right. Yeah. So just which means?
Naturally pétillant or naturally bubbly.
The first one we're trying is a hand disgorge pétillant. How are you saying that? Pétillant? Pétillant. 90% Vermentino, 10% Riesling from the King Valley in Victoria, made with minimal intervention and maximum care. It's a 2025 vintage, so this thing is fresh off the...
2025 vintage.
Yeah, and there is some sediment down the bottom.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't think I captured that on camera. I'm gonna
that's typically a thing. No, so basically with pétillant natural or pet nat. With pet nat, it's literally a wine that is from... Oh my God, I have a crazy story that just came to mind. But anyway, so basically it's a wine that is bottled without the fermentation to be totally finished. So, there's still some sugar. So typically alcohol is a little bit lower. This one is 12%. Yeah, it could go from 8 to 12%, I would say. But it's a wine that ends the fermentation in the bottle. So capturing the carbon dioxide inside the bottle or trapping it in. And that's it really. So it's one of the oldest ways of making sparkling wine. That's
Yeah, they say like they refer to like ancient sort of like
Yeah,
styles
yeah,
and
exactly,
tradition of
exactly.
winemaking.
Exactly.
Less fizz than a champagne. So what is the difference
Yeah,
then of a
naturally.
champagne? So
Naturally.
the natural CO2
Uh-huh.
of the grapes go and get stuck
Yeah.
into the bottle, and that's sort of what
Yeah.
keeps the fizziness. And champagne is like double disgorged.
No, so well, it's disgorged, yes, and then there's first there's a primary fermentation, and then there's the secondary fermentation. Secondary fermentation, which is when they add the tirage and basically add a little bit of sugar and base wine to re-ferment, to create then the secondary fermentation, and in this case the bubbles. With pet nat, it's only one fermentation, so basically the wine is fermenting finished to ferment inside the bottle, so trapping the carbon dioxide inside. So it's a very, very fast process. Hence you can, and it doesn't need age. So, and you want it fresh and fruity as much as possible, especially because if there is low sulfites, low intervention, etc., it probably won't last, 3 years or 2 years.
Okay.
Or a year and a half.
So we're not aging
or even the whole
pet
year.
nats. Gotcha. Hence why we're having a 2025.
Look, you may. I mean, I'm not sure. To be honest, I haven't had an old pet nat. But I do remember one day going into my storage and grabbing a bottle of pet nat. I did have one there from Beechworth. I had a box full of wines, sparkling wines, and I start unpacking them because I needed to get to the bottom of one. And as the bottles hit on it, it exploded. Glass everywhere. I was lucky because I could have...
Oh, the bottle exploded,
the bottle
not just
exploded.
the top.
No.
Because it's beer can openers.
The bottle exploded. Okay, so the whole bottle exploded. Look, I mean, hopefully no one has the same experience where, you got to go in the wine cellar and grab a bottle of pet nat and it just explodes.
I have to say, I've had a sip of this wine, 90% Vermentino, 10% Riesling. It's actually quite nice. I'm a little thrown just by the bits of sediment in it, but maybe that's just
I'm
like,
the opposite. I quite like that.
Yeah, for me, this pet nat feels like the entry into wine for the younger generation. Like,
there's a little kombucha to it.
Yeah.
Like a little pickle, almost a little pickling to it. But it's quite fresh, quite fruity.
You got to wear all black to drink these wines.
Like, I think he does have a market, and I do think, like, I would match this with pairing. Like, I remember a few weeks ago, there was unconventional wine pairings, right? And you asked about that, the unconventional wine pairing. And I did suggest, like, sea urchin. This and sea urchin would be really cool. Would be really, really good.
But then, like, why wouldn't you have a nice bottle of wine and some sea urchin instead of a $30 pet nat?
No, I think it's
I'm
because...
going to crack a sea urchin or get someone to cook sea urchin.
Because of that slight vinegary, because of that freshness, that bruised apple, that slight draw almost. It's quite it's interesting.
Hey, I don't mind.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I think on a lovely sunny afternoon, Sunday afternoon, just relaxing with friends.
I agree. In the park, picnic blanket.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no problem at all.
I wouldn't pick this in a nice...
couple of glasses, drive home.
Exactly.
On to the next one. Now, the reason that I picked this is it has got a wild mix of wines. I don't even know... how is this possible? It's called Midnight Disco. It's 2022. That includes Syrah, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc from Langhorne Creek in the Adelaide Hills.
Field blend.
What? What's a field blend?
Field blend. Yeah,
Who's
that's
mixing
how
Chardonnay,
they call
Syrah, and Sauvignon Blanc?
No, that's how they call wines in Austria, for example, Vienna gemischte Schatz, which field blends anyway. But that's different. It's completely different. So I'm not comparing. Yeah.
I haven't had it yet, so I'm not knocking it. I just couldn't believe that mix. Once again, 12%. I feel like pet nat wines, for the most part, feels like a hobby wine for other winemakers,
A little bit of a side project sometimes. And, yes, it does. It is in vogue. Like people drink them. Maybe they have drunk more a bit in the past. But also, I do know people that, works in the wine industry and that drinks good wines regularly. And because of the trend became so big, where wine lists were being built only with pet nuts and with natural wines, and that's really like excluding a lot of people that doesn't drink or doesn't like this stuff. So I think it's really important when someone is building a wine list that they think about the customers that may come through the door and not building a wine list for themselves. Basically,
I think that's a very fair point. If you're a wine bar that has kind of anchovy toast and some sort of like $6 to $10
toast,
bites,
amazing.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you're $6 to $10 bites, so you're not putting yourself into a Vue de Monde sort of category of $300 tasting course meals. Then you need to be able to. You understand that somebody, $6 to $8 snacks is available for everyone.
Correct.
So you are going to have people who maybe don't appreciate a French or Beaujolais wine.
Correct.
You need to be able to cater for them. So I certainly agree with you that I think it has its place in a wine list. I have had a sip of this wine. I'd be very interested to know your thoughts, Carlos, because mine,
it's almost like a wild Murillo sherry or something, like after palate, wild strawberry or something, green strawberry as well.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of green, like tart bitterness on my tongue. Like, it kind of feels like stemmy.
I prefer the first one, but again, like, if you on a lovely afternoon, summer, friends in the park, you're having some charcuterie. This will be nice with charcuterie more than the first one, for example. I think it's okay. I mean, like $30, it becomes like, well, do I really want to spend $30?
My wine of the year last year was a King Valley, and the Sentio. Aligote. That's $30 a bottle of wine. I prefer to have that in the park.
Well, there you go. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I love the romance of what you say, but like, if you have to put it in summer, in a picnic in a park, rather than just being quite more simplistic, maybe we're dreaming. Also, it's Melbourne winter. Yeah, it's a top of 14 degrees. And then, I'm not going to Fawkner Park in the city and putting out a picnic rug just to enjoy a glass of Syrah, Sauvignon Blanc, and Chardonnay. Now, I have to say I'm quite excited about this next glass. I mean, apart from the fact we're about to have my two favorite wine styles, shock, Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. But this one has the natural wine appearance of that cloudiness that you sort of expect. Well, you not expect, but that's what I would look at that and assess that from a visual aspect and probably immediately say it could be natural. Yeah. But I love Chardonnay, and this one in particular is a Bandicoot Run ceramic Chardonnay. Now, we've talked about ceramics before, Carlos, but do you want to take us through the process of this wine? Ooh! Sorry, just took a whiff on the nose.
Yeah. Yes, it really has that dusty concrete feel to it. You can smell oak on this wine. You can taste it. It's really that dusty, savory, a little salty. This would be nice with dried nuts and olives.
It's more vinegary than I was hoping or expecting, and the acid is high. Wow.
Again, I think with a lot of seafood, it's like quite lemony as well. Very acidic, but like really lemony.
Unfined, unfiltered, hence why we get that cloudiness.
Unfined, unfiltered. Yeah, totally like natural yeasts. So, of course, you can have inoculated yeasts, and really has that funky acidity to it. But then again, that's really the hands-off. So that's the winemaking style, hands-off, low intervention. No, the wine becomes whatever he wants to become. And I mean, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Look, as soon as you enjoy it, whatever,
Exactly. Everyone's got a different palate for a reason. We're certainly, two people with opinions, especially mine is less cultured than Carlos's by a long shot, but that's just not for me.
Yeah. Oh, but second sip is like even more acidic, even tartar.
Do you know when you go medium
salty.
Plus?
It's
this
really
is
salty.
High acid, right?
High acid, yeah. High acid. It's mouth-watering. It's not like it's the first glass we're trying.
No.
It's early morning, but it's like second glass is even more acidic.
Yeah. Certainly got its market, and it's out there for someone. And I would like to mention Nickel Farms, because we did a full episode on them, and it was great to have Dorian as well, your business partner and a fellow master sommelier, speak about that wine. You'll see, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a button up top where you can actually go and check out that episode, which was a natural wine episode. And then also, if you're listening to this, we'll have it below in the show notes, so you can click on that after this. But the reason we did that Nickel Farms was, it's this small vineyard in Victoria that was on Noma in Copenhagen's wine list. Hugh Allen, when he was over there, the head chef of Vue de Monde, and about to start his own restaurant, Jager. So yes, he kind of put that on our radar. We did an episode on it. I actually bought a bunch of wines and ended up selling them because they're not for me.
Well, there you go.
It did feel, this Chardonnay, getting back to that, it did feel like that, that sort of natural element. That one's not for me. If that's concrete tanks and natural wines, then I'm sulfates and oak man.
Yeah, typically between concrete tanks or eggs or like very well seasoned oak.
Nickel Farm does terracotta as well. Remember? Terracotta eggs.
Yeah, exactly. And you feel that dusty, like really almost tannic. It's actually quite tannic as well on the palate, even for the white.
Going on to the Pinot Noir, which I am excited about. It's from a brand called Morgan. I'm going to read out the back of the label.
Look, the color is very much Pinot Noir like.
Yeah.
The color really, screams like a youthful Pinot Noir.
This is from Ironbank in the Adelaide Hills. Beautiful part of the world. One of my favorite restaurants in the Adelaide Hills is up there. From a saddle-shaped ridge surrounded by virgin stringy bark bush. D4 V2 clone, of course, that is the vines. Naturally farmed, naturally fermented whole berries in one large jarrah vat. 12 months aging in 3-year-old French oak hogsheads. The best 4 barrels. Deep and structured, bottled, unfined, unfiltered, and unfused. 1,200 litres produced. So that's what we're drinking.
Okay.
It's $50 for this bottle, the most expensive of our lineup. Yeah. The whole lineup was about $150.
I think this is probably the less or the more conventional of the natural wines we
got some oak.
Today.
We got some oak, baby.
Yeah, it's quite nice actually. Nose quite perfumed, quite floral, wild cherries.
It's a beautiful nose. Not a beautiful nose. It's a nice nose. Got a really interesting, complex nose.
Palate as well, really good. Palate is quite nice.
I wanted more fruit-forward stuff. For me, it's a bit like flat, but there's certainly some interesting Pinot Noir.
Needs a little bit of acidity, actually. Yeah. It's a little bit of a kick, but it's definitely more. It's definitely more in line with what we used to drink. Than not. It falls a little bit short. For $50, I think there's a lot of wine. I think the nose is really brings up an expectancy of what you're gonna taste, but then the palate kind of fades a little bit too fast. Needs the kick of fruit, needs the kick of acidity, needs the kick of, I think, just texture and warmth that it doesn't have. Definitely looks more like Pinot Noir.
Looks good in our Riedel Performance glasses. This is my favorite glass as well, by the way, from the Riedel lineup. Gorgeous. My favorite wine of the lineup, but once again, for $50.
Maybe needs a little bit of time. Maybe could be decanted. Maybe you can open up a little bit, because sometimes with those wines as well, that may be it. Sometimes they may need a little bit more time to settle in. Have them in a decanter and just open up. It may help a little bit. Maybe try it a little bit later.
That's our episode of Natural Wines. We would love to know what you drink if it comes down to natural wines, or are you on the organic train ready to take that step back into the natural space? Let us know in the comments on Instagram, or if you're on YouTube, drop it below. Thank you so much for listening. Before we go, we've got a couple of things we need to do. We ask you guys on Instagram for some questions. We've got a bunch. Carlos, you ready?
Yeah, bring it on.
All right, here we go. From Julie, not W on Instagram. What is your favorite appellation in Burgundy, both for white and red?
Favorite appellation in Burgundy? White, I really like Merceau. Red, I really like Givry Chambertin.
Karen _Cornaca. Due to climate change, a region to look out for, or one that will be most affected negatively? We won't go down the negative path.
So repeat, please.
So who's going to benefit from climate change? The answer for me is pretty easy here. Grenache, surely.
Grenache, Viognier, probably. I think Grenache especially, it's been doing amazing. Yeah, for sure.
I'm very lucky to work with Halliday at the moment. We're making
some
their
Italian
podcast,
varietals,
and they're super excited about Grenache.
Yeah.
And we had SC Pennell on, remember?
Yeah.
And he had some
Top
killer
Grenaches. On the first year, we scored pretty high. I think, Grenache, because of low tannins, red fruits. I think with, picked a little bit earlier. It's really fresh, really full, really fruity. It's almost resembling of a Pinot Noir, but obviously with lower acidity. So if that's managed earlier in the season, I think they can be really nice.
SC Pennell, shout outs to you. I do think they're making killer Grenache. SA, wine, take us there. Pav09, big shout outs to Pav. He's been following us for a long time. What is Gottsom's opinion on Viognier? And are there any any recommendations?
Yeah, Viognier.
I love Viognier. That whole mouth feel, that big texture.
Yeah, texture, richness, warmth, alcohol, that stone fruit, peach, apricot, almost slight tannin. I really, really like Condrieu.
Ooh, that's a great shout.
Pierre Gaillard or Gangloff or Yves Cuiron, amazing Viognier. those top producers are just absolutely insane.
Smashing through these. Thank you very much for your questions. Keep them coming through at GotSomm, and we'll introduce you to Dan as well. Dan is in the studio. He's a follower, and he's been drinking along with us. You'll see him at the end. We'll get his thoughts on his favourite wine. So make sure you follow us and TikTok. A couple of questions we're going to pump through from Beechworth Wine Region. Shout outs to Beechworth Wine Region. Amelia and I had a very fun night at your event last year. Would love to go back to that Melbourne night, and yeah, it's a really fun event. Do you find the bubbles dissipate quicker out of the large wine glass versus the flute?
Yeah, they do. I think the large glass, the larger the glass, the bottles dissipate faster. But I think the rewards of having more aromas, the reward of having more out of the nose and the palate from a larger glass, I think it's more than the bubbles dissipating. I mean, I think a trick to overcome that is to pour a little bit less. So instead of pouring the full glass of sparkling wine in a larger glass, maybe just pour half a glass. And also because you keep the champagne a little bit cooler. Not that you want to have champagne very, very cold, obviously. I think we discussed that in previous episodes, but maybe we should touch base again. But I think having the champagne at the right temperature, and if you pour half a glass into a larger glass where you can actually fully experience the champagne, I think is more reward than having more bubbles and more foam from a smaller glass, basically, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. And a question from my mum, who is one of the great supporters of GotSomm.
Your mum?
She's the first person to reply to all of our messages. She said, "What is the best way to wash and dry wine glasses?"
Very good.
Good on
Mom,
you, Annie.
let me come and do you a rundown on the.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Mum just wanted her glasses washed. What's this?
All right, so it's a little bit early, no breakfast and 4 glasses of natural wine. I think the naturalist is getting to my head.
Oh, God, no natural. That's enough said, mate. No, that's fine. Okay, you've done enough. Stop speaking about my mother. All right, we're going to let Dan come in. Dan follows us at GotSomm. He was the first person to reply saying he can be in the studio for this recording. Dan, here you go.
He doesn't get much better. This there's more acidity now on the Pinot Noir.
I'm glad you raised that the acidity is increasing on that Pinot, because you mentioned that you'd probably like to decant it, but for me it was, as you mentioned, it was flat.
Yeah.
No acidity, alcohol low. Like, what would be the benefit of decanting that Pinot or any of the pet nats? Like, why would we allow extra aeration? Like, why would we do that? What would you expect to happen to those wines?
Well, sometimes, because the wines are tucked in the bottle since they're made, and sometimes they just need a little bit of extra air, a little bit of, opening up a little bit. So I feel like oak, sure, no problem, or stainless steel concrete. Wine is fermented, then élevage, and then bottled. And sometimes they just need a little bit of air. Yeah, like natural yeast is another thing that just really keeps everything so tight and so like under the blankets. You just really want it to open up. And I think a decanter may help to do that. So I've been over and over again, like just swirling and but my glass now, I have acidity. Now I have, like, it's actually start kicking in. So he actually got better.
A big thank you to Dan for coming in. If you want to join us in the studio, we record every week or so. Make sure you follow us at GotSomm, and we will be putting it on our stories. Winston, come here. Big shout out to my dog Winston, the quiet assassin of the podcast. Look at him. You didn't even know he was here the whole time. That's a good dog.
You want to say something, Winston?
Thank you very much for watching. If you are not following, please do. If you're not subscribed, please do. And we'll see you on the next episode of GotSomm.